Oh,
So yeah, hello, Final Two. Welcome to your rites of passage. We're here to talk about your fallen players and your journey through Elysium. So yeah, without further ado,
Okay, nothing's happening.
Good old Jonathan. What to say about
I
Jonathan?
so Jonathan and I we talked. It's like that early game talk where it's like very casual, but we talked every day, even if it was just to be like, "Hey, what's up?" And that first round before the saves, he was like, "Ooh, I don't know if anybody's going to save me. Like, I'm not sure what's going on." So it was. I was surprised that he left when he did, just because that day he seemed like he was like, "I got to figure this out." I've seen him play other games before, so I was looking forward to getting to play with him. And I don't know, he seems like a lovely person. But it's hard going first, especially in a season like this, and especially as a winner. I can
Yeah,
only imagine like what happened.
Jonathan was like in my circle in season two, and I was really excited to actually get to work with him. So I was kind of wavering between him and actually Austin during season two. So getting to play with him again, I was excited. We connected early on, but like as soon as he didn't get saved, I said, "Oh my goodness!" Like, well, don't worry, I got you. And he's like, "Vote me out." So I know Jonathan was probably struggling with a lot of stuff personally just wanted to step away from orgs, and so I respect that. And it did ultimately make the first boot of an org easy because he wanted to leave. So
Well, I guess, he like Michaela is the other person to never be voted out of the collective in 2 seasons.
that is
Onwards.
true. Oh, Maya. Wow. I I loved Maya because I messaged Maya right after the videos were released, and I was like, whatever that pizza spinning thing with the fabric is that you were doing is like really cool, and the fact that it was like a monarch butterfly pattern, just really cool. And so we connected on like plants and just like she had really, really fun vibes. But after like the first round, she was like, "Oh, I'm so much in trouble," and I was like, "I I can't really save you here." Like she's like, "Please save me." So it was a mess.
Oh my God. I'm still wondering what the mystery was around that round one. I think it's pretty clear now that it was a circle situation, but um that was it's really confusing. I messaged her, I think, I reach out every day, but I didn't always hear back. But like right around that round before she was up, we did talk a little bit. She's really interesting. She's a young person who's like getting into all these new things because she's talking about learning how to DJ and she's like starting to go to music festivals. And then she's
Hmm.
the spinny thing. I can't remember what it was called, but she like just started learning that. So I feel like she's not somebody who's like stuck in her ways yet, because she's trying all these new things, which
Yeah,
includes orgs. I think this is only her second game.
it could be. Yeah, I mean, season seven, she just played right before this, and
Right.
yeah, I think she was in Eleanor's circle, and Eleanor made a decision to not let a woman be first boot if Jonathan was bluffing with his wanting to walk. So I think that
Right.
was what got Maya saved early on. But I think that really just caused a lot of paranoia about the situation surrounding Maya and Mac and Eleanor, and that kind of put them down a pretty rough road.
Right. I know she took a lot of heat in her original season too, because she was like less active at first because she didn't know, but I she made it far then, so I feel kind of bad that like, things turned out the way they did now, but it was lovely while she was here.
I am genuinely surprised that she went home over Chloe though. And we'll talk about Chloe in a second, but that was surprising to me.
Speaking of Chloe, onwards.
There she is.
So I'll keep it brief because I didn't know Chloe that much. We again, it was like I think these first three people, it was hard to get a hold of them, which is not a bad thing. I mean, they're just
Hmm.
doing things, especially for her because she's 6 hours ahead or whatever. But I was really surprised to see her because she was on prod for season three. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. It was like a weird level of. I think I like this game a lot, so I kind of was like, oh my God, a celebrity. She runs it. Oh my God, she's playing.
Yeah. Yeah, Chloe was in season two and ran it with William, like very, very deep, got third and fourth, and was the most social person and was always around, like even though she was totally off in terms of time zone. But then this season, like I asked her, like, has your job changed? Like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, I'm starting to work a more normal job, so I can't really just stay up all night long.
Right.
And that's what changed drastically. I think her schedule just beat her in this game, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to
But she
say.
survived the first round, so that
She
was
did.
impressive to her.
I
I mean, she was fighting, and she never even asked about votes. She just wanted to talk about life while she's on the block. Like she just kept
right.
asking personal stuff, and I was like, "That's awesome."
I wonder if the reason she stayed over Maya was I had heard the theory somewhere, I think from you, that maybe um Maya getting pushed out of her circle was to try to bring Hutch or Allison into it, since they both ended up in that circle, and maybe that's why, maybe
Yeah,
that's why she ended up staying. Because I think that was the first vote where people were really like, it's going to be this way all day, and then it suddenly shifted the other way. But I mean, that was the previous round, and then I guess at least early in the game, it seems
yeah,
like once you've been up twice, it's kind of time, with the exception
yeah,
for like Dylan.
yeah.
All right,
Hmm.
shall I continue?
Move on, Vicky. Oh boy.
Oh, poor fucking. I don't know what it is about Vicky. I feel like she's so real all the time, and but somehow
Hmm.
like no one ever believes her. Like I don't know.
I
It-
I genuinely want to know if everything she was saying about Eleanor was true, or if that was just being made up on the spot to save herself. I don't know what like I don't know what happened that she like didn't get a circle, but she also just didn't like somehow connect with anybody in the game. Like the other Eidolons somehow connected with people. Most of them went very deep in the game. So like the fact that she just couldn't find any foothold was really shocking to me. I even saved her like round two, I think it was, just to like keep her in the game because I really genuinely like Vicky, but she couldn't find anybody to like fight for her at that point.
right. I think that was the first hint of how the season was going to go, because even those first few
Hmm.
rounds, everybody was waiting till the last minute to name a save, so it always ended up being a circle save. So I think she
Yeah.
was the victim of the ethos that kind of directed the rest of the game, which is too bad because like she is a good player. I mean, in season
Hmm.
three, I thought she did really well. She was really smart about like telling me she was the spy in my circle, because we
Hmm.
kind of had to protect each other, because you know, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have season three yet, but I played another game with her last fall, and she didn't last too long. And she was like on a trip at the time, so it didn't work. So I was like excited to
Hmm.
get another chance to play with her, but again, she the victim of victim of the twists, I suppose.
Could be, but if you get on a call with her, Vicky is so funny and just absolutely hilarious. So
I
yeah,
know. God, she's great. Vicky, love you down, girl.
yep.
Shall we continue?
AJ,
I have a lot to say. I have a lot
go
to
for it.
say. AJ's fucking lovely. AJ's an angel. Um, I kind of went into this season with this idea of like, it's my last game. I always am afraid to like say too much. So I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck I want. And so part of that was me calling him out for not talking. The other part was me being like, I'd hyped up this season so much that to have somebody not talk, it really like made me mad, and I went a little too far,
Hmm.
I think. So when he was actually up for banishment and he messaged me as a joke to say, "Why don't you save me?" It was like a great opportunity to get on a call and apologize and talk. And he's great. He's really great. Like it would have been so great to,
Hmm.
have him stick around and really get to know him, because he is very interesting and he is very funny.
Yeah. I mean, the first weekend we chatted like about his intro video was so funny, and like the fact that he had those two signs on his bed was like just hilarious. So we started talking about that, about the kid, like, and he has like a nephew that he watches a lot. So like we connected over just watching infants, and it was just yeah, a wonderful, wonderful guy. But like I could not get anything out of him for days on end, and then it would just be like back to normal. It wasn't even like a hey, sorry, I've been MIA. It was just like a jumped right back in as if nothing happened. It was yeah, it was very amusing.
So if Vicky was the first victim of the way people played this season, I think he is a good example of giving people more of a chance, which is like a lesson that I had to learn. Um, there's like a learning curve to all of this, to doing any game, especially an All-Stars game, and to get thrown in after your second org ever is probably a lot. So, learning
Yeah.
lessons for maybe us, not so much him, of like, it is a game. Give people a chance. Like maybe offer a helping hand instead of being like, "What the fuck?" right away. But sorry, guys. Sorry, AJ.
Well, I mean, to AJ's credit though, like the first round, Allison saved him just as probably because they were in the circle over together, and Allison and AJ were best buds. But then he got a spot in the collective the next 3 rounds. So like this inactive player still found time to do the challenges and did them well enough to get into the collective for 2, 3, and 4. But this to me, AJ's game at the beginning was very much a like first boot game in most games. Like you find any reason and just inactivity is typically a reason to vote somebody out first. And he did enough to keep himself to 5th place. So or 20th place. But yeah,
Right.
the fifth boot.
Which weirdly, oh, I had a thought. Now I lost it. Um, and that somehow like him doing well in the challenges somehow made me angrier. Where I was like, you're obviously here
Yeah.
because you're doing it. So like, talk to me. And maybe I was taking it personally too. I don't know. But the other interesting thing with AJ is like that was the first clue to me that Allison had a lot of power because
Hmm.
I
I
said to
feel like your
her,
time is up on AJ. I don't know.
I'm gonna just say one more thing.
Finish your
It
thought.
was
Finish your thought.
finish my thought. Now I've derailed. Now I can't remember what it was. Oh, that was my first clue that like Allison was in a lot of power because I said to her like, "Man, AJ has not answered me in 3 days," and then 2 seconds later, who messages me? So I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
Allison's that. Love you, AJ. Sorry for being a dick. Hope you can forgive me." Moving on.
V on the double boot with Ragnarok. I'm not gonna talk about them both, but like V was absolutely wonderful back in season 3. Like I loved V, chatted with V all the time. I genuinely w wanted to go as far as I could with V, even though I wasn't in V circle. Um, but this game with like the summer camp that they were at, and then like after that was like some sort of like rage or concert or something like that. Like it was just V was everywhere, but the game.
V is like top 3 people I've met playing orgs. This is my 10th game, but it's been like almost 3 years. Top 3 people. Um, and
Hmm.
we talked so much in season 3, but it was never about the game because like we would constantly like egg each other on about telling the other person something, and then we wouldn't do it. It was really strange. So to get to do this again, and like we
Yeah.
now we have that relationship now, and it was such a different experience to actually be able
Hmm.
to openly talk about the game, but also just talk the way we do because we are friends. Um, and they just seemed like they were in like a really good place. Not that they were in a bad place in season 3, but it was like I could tell that
Yeah.
there was a shift in just I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's hard to pinpoint, but it was really noticeable and it was really refreshing and I was really excited. And I
Yeah.
was like, fuck. All these people I'm trying to play with keep
Yeah.
going home.
Right. And then right alongside of V was John. Good old John. And that to
No.
me, the fact that this goes back to what you were saying with AJ, like the fact that John almost had enough votes to go home against AJ speaks volumes to where Allison was at in the game this early. Because John, great social player, incredible. I mean, as you know, like I connected with both you and John very early on in our circle. Was love John. Like absolutely, I had so many calls with John for like the first couple of days. It was just chatting about life, job, work. Yeah, wonderful.
John and I have bullied each other for years in servers, which is weird because the first time I met John was like an interview for CTC, and I ended up pulling out of that
Hmm.
season. But like we talked for like 2 hours, so I don't know where the bullying came from, but
Oh my
it was
goodness.
very mutual. So he, like other people in this season, like for example, Aaliyah, like I was really excited to play with him because I was like, okay, this is a chance to like see what he's really like, to really get to know him, to actually, begin to play a game together. And he first time in my life, he proposed to Final Two the first time we got on call when I was coming back from New Jersey. And I said, you know what? I'll say yes because I never make Final Twos with anybody.
Hmm.
And he was like, it's going to be so unexpected. And I was like, yes, it would be really unexpected. And then he kept not making the collective.
Yeah, I do think John stay. If John was present at that challenge, I think John stays that night. Like I
100%.
genuinely do, and I don't know who would have gone over that. So maybe I'm fortunate John wasn't there, but um. Yeah, John, I think would have stayed. And the fact that I had heard legends about this person named Buckley, didn't even know John Buckley was the same John as his Buckley is wild. But then I finally got to talk and play a game with Buckley. So
My
so fun.
God. He's another victim, like Vicky, of sort of the way that this game unfolded because I think
Yeah.
in the same way that people were really afraid of ties happening, I think a lot of people were really afraid of going against what their circles wanted. So for him to not be
Hmm.
there, it was just such an easy choice for people to go, well, he's not here. We don't have to worry about
Yeah.
talking to him about it, so just vote him out. So
I mean, that
pour
was
one
Hutch's
out for John
entire
Buckley.
argument for saving Billy. It was very frustrating.
With
Yeah.
and the argument to me didn't make sense because like the person who was saying it almost wasn't there either. And it's not
Yeah.
like I mean it wasn't John. So John got the short end of the stick and
I
pouring out
the
John,
game would have been drastically different had John been there, had John stayed. I don't know how it would have progressed, but the game would have been so different.
John Buckley, we love you.
Hmm.
Our first fallen Valhalla member.
Oh my goodness. Aaliyah. I played Fortnite with Aaliyah. So fun. Like she in Fortnite, like she doesn't even care where you are. She will just go on to the next like POI, will just chase down fights. Like doesn't even like want to stick around with their duo in the game of Fortnite. It's just it was a very amusing person to play with.
We had judged a music game together like a year and a half ago. It was Jacob was running it. And so that was the
Hmm.
first time I met her. So it was like it was getting to talk in sort of like a non-game context, but this is like Buckley, this is like the first time I got to play with her. So I was really excited. Um,
Yeah.
And she was somebody that like the first time I talked to her, it was just so easy to talk about anything. And then like eventually we kind of like slid into gameplay and it was just a very natural progression. And so I knew for me in that moment, she was like another top priority in our group because I'm just like, I know I can talk to her. I know
Hmm.
she's gonna understand where I'm coming from. We kind of had a lot of the same reads early on of like things like with Allison was doing or saying. Um, I just, again, taken out too soon. I was shocked that people wanted her out over Jake because I thought that, if the logic of inactivity was the thing that was
Hmm.
driving certain votes, this was kind of the first time that it didn't apply.
I think one, I think Jake was very heavily connected with a lot of those people, and I would love to learn more about that actually happening. But two, I think when I pushed Save Aaliyah so much during that round, specifically with Dylan and Austin, the word got around, and I think Michaela specifically just said no, like absolutely not. Michaela's saving Jake. Like we're not saving Aaliyah here. Aaliyah's too much of a social threat. So I genuinely think that was a big part of why Aaliyah went. So I kind of feel bad because I almost feel like responsible for it. But yeah, yeah,
Ugh,
big
I
social
I
threat.
don't think I realized how hard you were pushing too, because I was trying to keep it kind of cool of like, yeah, I mean, we could tie like a tie. Wouldn't that be fun and interesting? But I think people probably if Jake hinted enough at what our circle was, people probably knew at that point. And
Oh yeah.
again, low hanging fruit. If you know one
Hmm.
person from that circle's gone, there's another two up. I mean, somebody had to go, But pour one out
People
for
picked up on the
Aaliyah.
fact that they were in the same circle. Like Eleanor first said that too. So like if Eleanor knew, a lot of other people knew they were in the same circle. So
Right.
it was not hard to piece together some of these things at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Our second fallen winner, the first winner voted out, which that was a good sign of like, okay, the winners are not sticking together here.
Yeah, there was talk of a winners alliance, and I think they existed because Billy had confirmed it, but I guess maybe inactivity did Aaliyah in, unfortunately. But
Love
that
you,
gets us to
Aaliyah.
Jake.
It surely
Three in a
does.
row for us at our circle. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
This was a rapid descent from what we thought was a stacked
right.
circle at the beginning of the game.
Oh my God.
But
And truthfully, I think it was a stacked circle, but
it really
I guess
was. But yeah,
there's more to the game than like being good at trials, I suppose, especially when everybody is like freakishly good at them. But J-
yeah,
Jake, I got to be so real with you, Jake. I did not trust you. I did not trust you at all because I played two games with Jake before, and I'm like, he's gonna like he's gonna like rub your back with one hand and then stab you with the other. So like he was the first person I
yeah,
thought when the time comes where the circles have to start cannibalizing, like he's gonna jump ship first. He's gonna turn on us first, and I don't know if he
yeah.
necessarily did, but from at least what Michaela said, like he definitely strongly hinted at who the rest of his circle was, which makes sense if you're trying to like he'll say, "Hey, I'll throw them all under the bus if you let me be the one
Hmm.
that survives." So I'd get like before I'd be curious to know what he was actually doing because I think he was doing a lot.
I
But
think
hey,
I
that's
would
Jake,
love to
the
know
game
more
player.
about what Jake was doing. I mean, the fact that Jake saved Amy T, got saved by AJ twice, and then saved William. So, like to me, Amy T and William being in the same circle and being pretty close in their circle tells me that Jake likely knew a lot more about the circles than he let on. But the
Right.
fact that Jake was so chaotic early on, and then right around the time where Jake was going to be on the block and probably going home, like just started spilling everything about
I
all the
know.
alliances he was in. He was like, "Hey, like let me know how you want me to save. If you want me to give immunity to one of you two or somebody else in the game." Like he was just so willing to share everything, and I'm just like, why were you not like this early on? Like we could have actually worked together had you
Right.
used your connections to help our circle instead of just seeming like you were going rogue. It
Well, I
was very
think
odd.
that's probably that probably answers the question right there of like if he suddenly was like, "Oh shit, everybody I'm trying to work with is turning on me. Like I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go home now."
Yeah.
And I mean, it was nice that it happened. I think it was useful information. Um,
Hmm.
I don't really know what he could have done to kind of escape the situation, considering what had just happened to
Yeah.
Buckley and Aaliyah. Um, but I will give him
Yeah.
this. He's good at the game. And that's why that's why I was suspicious because I know how good he is.
Oh yeah, I mean, I generally don't think anyone in this game was bad at the game. I think some of the people got screwed by the system, by jobs and whatever real life. But yeah, I mean, Jake was chaotic. Jake was on the block already and survived. So that pattern kind of had to continue for the most
Right.
part. So yeah,
And
it
you know
became an
what?
easy option.
He deserved better in Valor because everybody was so gung-ho about saving Jake to get Aaliyah out, and then they completely ignored him in that challenge. That was kind of gross to me. I didn't like that.
That
And
challenge was rough.
yeah.
I'm sure I'll talk about it more, especially tomorrow, because there's a lot about that challenge that was wild for my game. But
Right. Well,
yeah,
Jake deserves better.
Jake got screwed. Yeah.
Even if he was jumping ship. Cody.
Hmm.
Cody and I had
Cody.
our first call that first time he was on the block against Jake. And he was
Hmm.
really lovely to talk to. It was, I don't want to say it was hard to talk about game. It's just we kind of touched on it. He like made his pitch to stay, and then we kind of moved on from there. He was really like I felt like respectful of not trying to push and bother and like keep hammering home. Because for me, like if somebody is going to make an argument or if I'm going to do it to somebody else, like I'd like to let's do the thing and then let's talk. And he really is great to talk to. I kind of wish I had done it sooner.
Hmm. Cody had both rounds. Cody's on the block. I got this like full 3 paragraph written out pitch that was like actually like targeted to me specifically, and it was so solid. Like such an extremely solid pitch. And I genuinely considered keeping Cody over Dylan. But the votes weren't there from anyone else. Like Dylan was too strongly connected, too social. Well, like the fact that Cody was on the block second time in a row, I think it was partly did him in. But honestly, like I had a call with Cody one time, I think the round before, and like the fellow cat dad was just like so fun, wonderful. So with Cody again.
Third time's a charm. I did feel for him because I could tell in like the last call we had, like he really did want to stick around and play.
Hmm.
He admitted he was like a little less active than he wanted to be. So I think kind of what we've seen with other people, it was sort of the circumstance of things outside of the game that just made it a little harder. And with everybody playing as hard as they were, it's it's if you lose one day, it's kind of like you lose a week, you know?
And the dynamics of Cody's circle, though, like so I think Chloe got booted early. Amy Z joined their circle, and then all of a sudden, like Cody is not connected because Austin and Dylan were locked in. Austin and Michaela were locked in. So Cody was immediately on the bottom of that five.
Mhm.
And like it was just very unfortunate for Cody.
Shall we continue? Let us
Yeah,
continue. How are we doing on time? I'm like, oh, we're doing great.
we're doing great. Eleanor.
Y'all are
Eleanor
really
is one of
on it.
What
I
did you
feel like
say, Karen?
I, we're on it.
Perfect. She's telling us we're doing great, or she's telling
Yeah,
us to shut
y'all
the
really
Awesome.
are. Like I thought you were keeping track of your own time. Keep doing
No,
it.
we're just amazing.
Um,
Eleanor. I have seen Eleanor play a couple games, and she always does well, and
Hmm.
she was good deep. And so I was really excited to play with her. And like she's another person that I connected with really early, and I was just like, "You're so easy to talk to. Like it's great. I'm really excited about this." And I think where things started going sideways is she was feeling the pressure of being in the circle that she was in. And obviously
Hmm.
her and Allison clashed about something. I don't know if it was just communication styles or personality. Like I don't know if anything actually happened, but um, I think where it started getting a little difficult was the round when Aaliyah and Jake were up, and she's like, I have to vote this way because my circle is telling me I have to do this. And then the next round when it was Jake and Cody, and I was like, she's like, I don't care what my circle thinks. And I'm like, I don't know how are we gonna play together when I don't know, like, what if I'm in trouble and your circle says no? Like, can I not rely on you? But so I think she was just like in a really stuck spot, and it was really hard to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mac's position in this game was one of the most interesting of anyone in the game, and that is because of both Allison, Hutch, and Eleanor. And Eleanor, I got on a call, I think it was like day like two or whatever when she was on the block against Vicky or early on. And like Eleanor was wonderful. Like we had this wonderful connection. I absolutely loved Eleanor. I was like, yeah, I'm totally down to work with you. Like, let's ride this out. And then, like as you were saying, like just round after round, it'd be like, oh, like I my circle all hates me. They all want me gone. And I said, okay, so like, who do you want to take out? Like, tell me something to go off of here. I want to help you. And it was just like nothing. And then she'd be like, woe is me. And like, I'm sorry, I can't say any more because I respect this game and I can't reveal to my circle. But like, you have to trust me. I'm like, what am I trusting you with? Like, you've given me nothing except for like you're in a bad spot. And if you're in a bad spot, I'm not going to drag my game down with you. But I do think Eleanor was one of the most interesting characters this season with like Jake. Like I think those two were such interesting characters.
One of the people that drew a lot of attention for that reason. I'm
100%.
similar to Jake. Like I really didn't like how Zenith went down.
Hmm.
Especially because we had that group of six and everybody was planning things. And that whole conversation, I was just kind of like, I like that there's some security in this group, but I'm also not sure I like want to fully, hitch my wagon to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And then when they showed the twist with the spinning wheel, I thought, okay, this is great. It's going to like change things up a little bit. So that first vote, I voted Amy T just to try to, shift things up, not realizing that like the entire world was going to pile on Eleanor. And I think in in any social challenge, when someone is like immediately targeted, it's just like it can't possibly feel good. So I think if she was already feeling frustrated, to have that happen probably was
Yeah.
like a kick in the teeth. So like other people who have gone up before, I think she deserved a little bit better. And it just
Well,
one
Valor
victim
was so
after
confusing
another.
to me because if you remember, and again, Valor is one of the challenges that I think revealed the most about this entire game for me. But like the fact that she went from like, oh, like by the second round, she's like, I have no gifts, like nobody's giving me anything. Like the fact that then she went from there to, oh, I'm gonna get second place in this challenge behind William to now we're at Zenith and basically on the block, dead last. But also icon moment, she sings when she goes out. So good.
And then delivers the most scathing line of the whole season. That was crazy. But Karen is yelling at us
Yeah.
about time, so we can move on.
Yeah.
But Eleanor, I hope we can still be friends because you're really cool.
Amy T. I honestly did not connect with Amy T much at all this game, and it's probably my fault.
Same for me. And we would message like every day, but it was always
Hmm.
like a, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm okay. Like a few messages and that's it. Um, I think because I apologized to AJ, I think she is the person that I probably did the most wrong to, where when
Hmm.
she was on the block, she was sending me really, really long pitches. And she'd be like, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any questions. And I didn't have any questions and I had kind of already made up my mind and like, but I didn't want to ignore it. So I found that I'd be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I have to respond. What do I say? I don't know. And I felt like I ignored her in a way that I wouldn't normally do. And I didn't feel good about that either. But
I mean,
I think
yeah.
there's something to be said about like, if you haven't established a connection, it is really hard to go from nothing to suddenly like your heart's being poured out and you're hoping the person's going to listen and respond, but
Well, the interesting thing was at that point in this game, Fred and Amy T were probably the people I had the least connection with. They were the bottom of my trust rankings. Like I had basically zero game talk with either of them. So of the two of them, I was like, honestly, Amy T's done worse in challenges, except for that one win early on in Tracker. I was like, okay, I want you to stay over Fred. But then as the day went on, like it just started piling on. Okay, Amy T's getting more votes to go home, and it's like I can't save you. And I ended up doing the same thing where basically I was like kind of I left her kind of MIA, but she had such a great pitch, and I genuinely would have preferred that she stayed over Fred. But
Another interesting meta of the season where I mean, it was really close for most of the day, and if you remember, it was like 8:30, and people are still like, "Amy
hmm
or Fred, Amy or Fred," and I was just like, "I'm sick of it. I wanted to say Fred," so I just said, "This is what I'm doing," and I think that kind of
hmm
I don't want to say it made up people's minds because I think people had decided they wanted to save Amy instead, but that one little piece falling into place made them all go, "Well, we don't want to tie," so they all just piled on Amy, and I don't think the vote really reflected probably the connections she had with people. It was more reflective of like the fear of a tie and the uncertainty of where
yeah.
everybody precisely was voting.
And the fact that they're both in the same circle, though, like I think people were very open to either one staying or going. Like neither of them were huge challenge threats, and I think William and Billy were both. Billy obviously wanted Fred, but
Right.
um, I think they were both open to either person staying. And then we get to Billy.
Right. Billiam. And now Karen's not changing the slides. She hates us. Just kidding. Billy
Billy.
was somebody that I talked to every day. We only called once, but we talked every day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Same.
so when it came down to it, it was Billy and Fred. Even though I liked them both, and I thought I had good connections with both of them for game purposes, I was just like, I think I'm a little closer with Billy. And there was that thought of like, he's just a little bit weaker in challenges. And if we're trying to like force a final two on William, I want to make it a little harder for William. Um, but Billy's another person where like I kind of put my foot down saying like, I want to save Billy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing. I don't care what anybody else does. Tie, no tie, right vote, wrong vote, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just 'cause, and I feel like he's kind of that dude.
Yeah.
Like he's very solid. He's very straightforward. He's very reliable.
I mean, B Billy was probably the person that I connected most personally outside of this game of anyone in the cast. And especially when he lost his job, like we just immediately connected about that and just like discussing life and marriage and cats and what like it was just to me, Billy was such an authentic person. And I genuinely am curious to hear more about what everyone was doing that round because this was the first round where I genuinely think there was a plan in place to get you and I out via a tie. And I think I was able to prevent that, but I also don't know exactly what happens on the vote. So it's the reason Billy went was not my desire. I really did want Billy to stay, but I do think Billy went because there was a tie plan in place.
And I think that was around too where you and Michaela switched to Fred at the last because of that reason. Um,
Yep.
very
Yeah,
interesting people.
I would love to hear more about that, but I do think that may have prevented us going this round. Um,
Right.
but yeah, Billy was a victim of me trying to just preserve our circle, basically. So
Onwards.
next, oh my goodness, another wild vote round.
William and I got in this habit
Yeah.
of every day one of us would say "Good morning, Grandpa" in a different language.
Oh
So like
my
he'd take a
goodness.
day, and then I'd take a day, and then he'd do the. And he's another person too, where
hmm
like for as much as we talked, we kind of didn't get into game talk until it was getting probably closer to like the Amy T, maybe like after Amy T left.
hmm
Just because there was like the timing wasn't right just yet. And I think there was some, potential there, but at the same time, it really felt like he was kind of distant. Like he was in that other circle that kind
hmm
of had its own plans. Like if there had been a split house, he was on the other side of it. And I think that kind of
Yeah.
prevented us from getting as close as we might have.
I love William. I loved William back in season two, and genuinely like one of my like probably top five favorite people of this season. Like just such a great person, even outside of like game stuff. but also within game stuff, like such a great strategist, such a great challenger, and I genuinely wanted William to stay as long as possible. And similar to you, I really started talking more game around the round where Amy 2 was on the block. Because to me, I was like, I don't care where those other ones are. I just want to keep you safe. And it was more of the question of like, what do you prefer, William? Like, do you want Amy T or Fred? Do you want Billy or Fred? Like, who do you want to be in your final two? Because I genuinely wanted William to be in the final eight. Um, but obviously that didn't happen because again, there was a plan to tie it and take you and me out. So yeah.
Na, boo boo. Well, and it's for the same reason. Like I think that was the big surprise too when he told me he would have preferred Fred to stay, and I think that surprised a lot of people. And that then started the conversation where like Allison and Amy Z were saying, "Oh, Dylan and William, they want Fred to
Hmm.
go," and I'm like, "They're telling me they want him to stay." I mean, William literally said to me he wants Fred to stay because he thinks he won't have to fight so hard to get to the end, whereas he'd have to win
Yeah.
out otherwise. So the plot
Yeah.
thickens with William.
William was very central to a lot of what was going on in that whole like, and again, I'm hypothesizing that this existed, but like there was seemingly a very large group of people on the other side of the house that was not including like Austin and Dylan and them for a while. So yeah, and then we
Onward.
get to
The
probably the hardest boot for
Dragoon.
me. Oh, Fred. Fred was dragged. That's right.
Fred was dragged.
Um,
I'm gonna get a shirt that says Fred was dragged.
I genuinely really like Fred. I've never been able to play a game with him well, and I've played like 3 or 4 games with him at this point. Every single time, like I always want to work with him, and it just never works out. And I don't know if it's just our schedules are different, the way we communicate is different, but as a person, Fred is so funny, so like just direct. And we had a couple calls, and I legit like was swaying my vote the other way to kind of work with Fred further, even though going into that round, I did not want Fred to stay any round he was on the block. Yeah, it
So
was very wild.
Fred was my he was my first or second alliance, and it was with him and Austin. Just because like they're two people that
Hmm.
some of my first calls very easy to talk to, and then we kind of fell off once the game got going, and I thought it was because he was getting more entrenched in his circle. I think he was just getting busy. But then the first time he was on the
Yeah.
block, like his pitch was like to me, it was perfect. It was like saying everything I needed to
Hmm.
hear. Oop, I just got a bedtime reminder. Telling me everything I needed to hear. It made a lot of sense. I mean, and he was against Amy
Yeah.
T, and it was just between the two relationships, it was so much stronger that it was just easy to want to keep him around. Um,
Yeah.
and then the next round, when it was against Billy, I said to him, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna vote for you. I'm sorry. Like, I have liked playing with you. It's just this is the circumstance that we're in right now. Like this is where I'm
Yeah.
going to go. And then when it all went sideways, I messaged him and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I tried to put you out. Like obviously something else is going on here, but it wasn't not anything against you. I'm not trying to get you out." And he was really
Hmm.
receptive to that. Which I think speaks to, good character for playing a game because, some people would be like, "You voted for me and I'm never gonna
Yeah.
that."
Fred was an interesting central piece to early on the round that Eleanor was on the block the first time. Fred was supposed to be on the block against Vicky, and Allison changed to save Fred. And from that moment on, I was suspicious of where Fred was at, aligned with Allison and Amy T and that group over there. Because that made no sense. Apparently, there was some deal that Fred made with them, like to repay a save or something like that. But yeah, that sketched me out a lot. Kind of set a narrative with my relationship with Fred.
Fred got
And
dragged.
then we get to my hardest boot of the entire season, I think. One of the hardest,
Karen changed the
which
slide.
was Austin.
Karen, put the Siggy down. Oh, Austin.
Austin, wow.
It's
He,
Jeremy running the slideshow, by the way.
oh, sorry. Austin was great. He another person that I started talking to really early on, and I think he and Allison were the ones that I had like the most real life conversations with.
Hmm.
When we didn't have a call for a long time, I think right before I left, and when we did, we talked for like 2 hours. It was crazy. It was crazy. But like I felt like he was a really important person for me, and probably you felt the same to keep a connection with.
Hmm.
So we got to like Zenith, and there was that whole plan. I like purposefully wanted to sort of extricate myself from that because as soon as we went to the breakout rooms, he and Billy and Mac were like, there's obviously a group, there's obviously something going on. And having not voted for Eleanor, it kind of kept that doorway open to be able to talk to him about things
Hmm.
and still feel like we had that avenue, but also that I like maintain that connection.
Yeah. So Austin was the person I communicated on the phone with the most after you in this entire season, and like just genuinely life and mostly game, honestly, just because Austin and I have we think about these games in a very similar manner, and the dude is insane at challenges. I mean, like he won like three of them, and yeah, I think he won three of the collectives, and
Yes,
still went
he
home
did.
in ninth
Crazy.
place. So yeah, congrats to Austin, such a big player. Austin was one of those players that I was telling from so early on. I'm like, Austin, if you don't take out your circle, you're going to end up exactly like me in season two. Like you're going to go home
And
first in
season
your
three.
circle and you're not going to make jury. Well, exactly. Yeah. And he kept saying, yeah, yeah, I know. And I'm like, make a move. And there were plenty of opportunities for them to make a move and they just never took it.
Right.
Very surprised that they kept Amy Z around for as long as they did, based off of what
Hmm.
I'd heard early on from them about Amy Z. So yeah,
He's
very
another big character this season because this was, I think,
yeah.
it was right around that Zenith was the zenith of everything, right? Where like that narrative started of like Allison versus Austin, which I'm starting to
Hmm.
wonder. I don't know if that was really as true as it seemed. I mean, especially he seemed like surprised by it. And I
Yeah.
think it was very easy for people to buy it because they were so out in front with the challenge wins. Easiest thing to do, take the two people that
Yeah.
are out in front and just put them against each other, whether it's true or not. But yes, I think him
Yeah.
also not turning is a another downstream effect of like the way the game started with everybody being so circle strong and seeing
Hmm.
if there was a narrative trying to get us out of like seeing what happens when you get down to two. So people were probably
And
less willing, you know.
Austin, I think, is such a central piece to what happened for the end game because had Allison and Mac decided to not take out Austin there, but take out Hutch instead, like they very well could have been in the final four. They very well could have gotten to the end here. Like they had such an opportunity between Allison and Mac's ability and challenges if they would have just gotten rid of Hutch there. But I genuinely think they tried to tie it again that round to take out you and I during the live night. And Michaela, I told me that she switched her vote last minute because it was supposed to be 6-4 easily. And Michaela switched her vote at the end and it stayed 6-4, which tells me 100% that somebody tried to tie, and Allison was apparently the one that did it. So yeah. And
Love to see it.
then what
Speaking
led
of
to, I
it,
think, honestly, Allison's downfall because had Hutch been gone, Mac would have just saved Allison here, and Allison would have cruised again to the next round. But they decided to stay circle strong, keep three people. But
so
such an
tempting to
incredible
do, you know.
player, such an incredible player, like so dominant. And the fact that Allison, who was tied, if not ahead, of every challenge person this season by the time we got to Ragnarok, the fact that Allison was in the collective in Ragnarok when you, me, Hutch, William, Austin, all of us were taken out with this whole theory of let's go after the challenge threats. Allison stayed, which tells me 100% of how good her social game was. Like, such an incredible player. And, like, I totally see why she won her season. Like, just like absolutely demolished this game from the beginning. But you played too hard from the beginning, made, I would say, one mistake, and you went home.
Allison is really complex for me. I like her a lot. She's one of the two people
Hmm.
I talk to most. We're very similar in a lot of ways, but we play the game so differently that
Hmm.
I don't. I think that kind of made me consistently hesitant to really open up to her about things. Like, 'cause I think I noticed it a little bit in the early part of the game. Like my second alliance was with her and V, and it was that I
Hmm.
think that first round where I was in the collective, and she goes, "Say V," and I'm like, let me see what
Yeah.
happens first. Let me think about this. So I think she's very direct, and people
Hmm.
know that she's good. So I think that's probably helps with the social game too, because they're not going to want to turn against somebody who they know can protect them and who's going to like tell it like it is. Because I
Hmm.
think a lot of orgers can be scared when they're put on the spot. So if someone's going to do that, they'll say, "Okay, I'll go that way." Yeah, she's insane,
I think,
insanely good.
I mean, I think Allison may be one of the people that were in the most alliances this season. Like, I think she was very well insulated, very well connected, and communicated with everybody frequently. I remember I had one funny conversation with her where she asked to call, and I said, "Well, I don't call very often, but like if you have time during this period, sure." She's like, "You don't call often? Like you have to get onto that." So she's just calling everybody, and I'm not a huge caller in these games. I'm a texter, but not a huge caller. So
Same.
it was wild to me that she was just on calls with everybody all the time, and that speaks volumes to her social game.
To go back to the Austin of it all, I think her too, like she sort of became, for a couple of reasons, she sort of became an easy target. The obvious one was she was doing really well, and it was very clear that she was in control of a lot of things. But I think the other one
Hmm.
was it was very easy to then paint that as like, oh, she's in control and she's like ruling with an iron fist. And I think the round that she left, like she was very chill about it. Where I think people
Hmm.
probably would have expected her to blow up more, and the fact that she didn't, I think,
Yeah.
shows that she's not as bad of a person as people made her out to be. She's just really like
Yeah.
intense,
I mean, she saw the writing on the wall. She knew she wasn't surviving that boat. And then we get to Amy Z, who I think was another actually very interesting character along with Allison, because Amy Z probably got the most like crap between their relationship. And I've heard like a couple different things. I'm not going to speak to like the rumors about what happened in the game between the two of them, but the fact that Amy Z, like, I genuinely think was telling me the truth a lot more than I thought throughout the game. And her whole story is, oh, like I'm very honest and very real with people in these games, and it's like everyone says that, but like, how true is that? And
right?
I genuinely think she was a lot more truthful than I believed during the entire game.
Same thing, very easy to do. She told me a couple things early on that like gave me pause. Like there was the one about somebody was saying that I was calling people boring, and when I pressed her for it, she kind of like backed off. So I was like, I don't know. But the one call we had early on was really important to like solidify a relationship with her. And after that, like even though I definitely had my doubts, I kind of always felt like if she was telling me something, it probably had some truth to it, unless she was pushing really hard. Unless
Hmm.
she was pushing really hard. But I think that also helped with like I another one of my alliances. I had one with her and Allison because like obviously they were connected, and I had connected individually with both of them, and I thought like, okay, there's obviously a lot of power here, so it's good to be between this. And then it just really, not sure how true it is, but it really seemed to break down between them towards the end. Um,
Yeah, I genuinely think it did. Like,
I'm,
I mean, the round that Amy Z changed her vote in order to send William home, like, was the icing on the cake to split up that duo there. Um, but Amy Z, I will say, like, she saved me at the last minute during Ragnarok, the round that I was vulnerable. We had one person in the collective Aaliyah who saved you, and then John wasn't even there that day. If Amy Z hasn't saved me and I'm on the block instead of Billy or something like that, like I very much likely go home that round.
oh,
So
100%. 100%.
huge change for me. And Amy Z did not tell me. I had barely any conversation with her ahead of time. Like I knew nothing about her. It wasn't until after that that we started talking about this big alliance and that kind of thing with Amy Z. But like a big reason why I ended up putting Aaliyah and Jake on the block the next round was because Amy Z saved me when I probably would have gone home. So
Right.
yeah,
Well, if we're talking about circles, we can talk about a full circle. And the full circle was her intro video. She's like, in my original season, I was willing to like die for my circle. Like I would put myself up and go home so that they could survive. She said, but this season I'm going to play for myself. And I think that the fact that when she got to the end, she said, you know what? I've done what I need to do. I feel good. You guys got this from here. That in some ways, I kind of feel like that almost retcons all the other stuff that may have been said
yeah,
or that people were suspicious of for the rest of the season. Because like if she was really
yeah.
doing all this stuff, would she have then done that at the end? And I don't know. I don't
And
think so because
and
I
the
think she
fact
is
that
direct.
she played her own game. Like she did not play a circle game at all. I mean, the fact that like Austin, Michaela, Dylan, they were all so frustrated at Amy Z for just constantly saving people outside of their circle, which further led to my like my belief of this sort of like alliance outside of that. So she played her own game, and then at the end, like you said, she stepped away and wished us the best. And I also like one of the coolest jobs I've ever met of an orger, Amy Z.
Right?
So
Like, how do you have the time, you know? How do you have the time to do this, Ben? We must
exactly.
continue. Everybody's favorite guy that goes by his last name, besides Buckley.
I I did not know that until I rewatched the intro videos right before this quiz. I legit thought his name was Hutch. Was it
Good
like
old
Steve
Steve. Good old
Hutcherson?
Steve.
Yeah.
He is somebody I did not have a call with this season, but we talked nearly every day, but not often about game stuff. It was almost always like
Mm-hmm.
about life. Like I know he's thinking of maybe moving to Buffalo, and I'm like, come to Western New York, you know? Um,
Mm-hmm.
really like hit the ground running at the beginning. And then I think once he established that like he can do this thing, he kind of like let it ride a little bit more, which I think was smart because there were other people that he could let take the heat. And I think he probably sensed that those other people would be really good shields for him. Helpful that they're in the same circle too.
Yeah. Yeah, Hutch got into a circle that was perfect for the way Hutch played this game. And I think you're exactly right. He did what he had to do those first three rounds to get into a circle, solidify that positioning, and then just kind of backed off. And I do think that was a good strategy for Hutch. I had one call with Hutch, and that was right before, or I guess right after the convergence challenge before we did the banishment or the selections for that run. And we were discussing taking out Allison. And Hutch kind of spilled everything to me about where like they were at in the game and for how Allison was playing. And Hutch just like I built so much trust with Hutch just that round. And genuinely like such a cool guy, like such a cool guy to talk with.
God, I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was. Oh, I also think he's a good example of like growth across seasons because his first season, I was in Montes's project and Montes was in alliance with Hutch, possibly in the same circle. I can't remember, but like he was doing a lot behind the scenes. He had a lot going on. He handled a lot of pots, and it ended up, blowing up in his face. And then he was an
Mm-hmm.
early boot in season five. So I think this time he like really kept it cool and he didn't do too much and he didn't say too much and he didn't push too much. And even when he started talking about like trying to change the game, trying to do something about Allison, like he was really subtle about it and he waited for the right time. I felt like he really had his finger on the pulse of things, in the position that he was in.
I think Hutch was with Jake and Michaela in their circle. But he did make jury. And so that was the other thing I connected with early on was like the fact that neither of us had made jury in our previous seasons. And it's like, we're going to make that a goal. And got there. So
And
love
then
you, Hutch.
now onto our second drag icon.
Yeah,
Actually,
this was up there with Austin as like my hardest elimination this season.
I think I
Ay, ay, ay.
Mac was one of my winner picks. Like obviously, like we all want to win,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like I could 100% see Mac doing it, especially once he started winning the social things. I'm like he's so good at that. He's so likable. He's so easy to talk to. He's very personable. And I feel like he's really open to, with the exception of when I can't remember the round it was, but it was like when we rewoke our little alliance of three, and you were kind of pressing him for like, what do you think about this or this in your own circle? And he sort of wasn't as open as he normally would be. But I
Mm-hmm.
think aside from that, like he's such a great, he's so great. Love you, Mac. Sorry you got dragged.
Yeah, Mac, like, or I mean, being on the block the very first round after what was not supposed to have happened with Eleanor and Maya in that situation. So like you started really awfully in the game, but you bounced back. Like you could have easily been on the block again, but you didn't. Like the fact that Mac just like came back, turned around his game, and like what you're saying, like real, like he's a real guy. Like he's just authentic himself. Like the fact that Mac like is just open about like struggling with confidence and then wants to grow in that. And you saw that legitimately throughout the season. And that was the coolest thing for me is like seeing the story arc for Mac is struggling a lot in the challenges early on, but then dominated the challenges. Like basically from verdict on was just crushing all of these challenges. And I don't think they came easily to Mac, like some people. Like I think Mac practiced and studied for all of these things, and it paid off. And it's just very unfortunate that there was a endurance comp because I do think Mac could have been like could have won this game for sure.
He's a good if I like to keep coming back to examples of things, and he's a good example of
Hmm.
like being able to recover from something. Because obviously there was round one, but
Yeah.
then when Eleanor went home, we were in a breakout room and he was like very dejected and he was like, my game's over. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because I think at that point everybody assumed Allison and Hutch were
Hmm.
like automatically a final two. And we had a conversation of like, like this could be good for you. Maybe you become the wedge that breaks those two apart. Like, don't give up yet. It's not over. Like, you
Hmm.
still got time. And I mean, I think he successfully did that because he was the last one standing of this group. And it really helps when you're really likable. Not
Well,
that the other two
it's
aren't,
funny
obviously.
you said that because like I never knew that side of Mac there, but like 2 rounds later, I was talking to Mac and like just very excited for the position that Mac was in within that circle because, and I think that was the problem with Mac not wanting to give me anything about what he wanted to do is because he really felt that there was a path with both Allison and Hutch to get to the end and did not know which one he wanted to take and was very tentative to make any definitive statements because of how powerful both I think Mac or both Allison and Hutch were in the game at the time. And I think Mac played that very perfectly and played a very flexible middle game in a game where it's really hard to do that. So props to Mac playing such a stellar game.
The Mac attack. King Mac.
Oh yeah.
Onwards. Diva Dylan.
Wow.
Dylan, I don't know how this happened. We didn't talk a ton, but we did talk enough. And I feel like he's one of the people I trusted the most. Because anytime he said he was going to do something, he did it. When we got to
Hmm.
that vote where, where Hutch was voted out, I know there was like concern about a tie, but I'm like, I don't know. I trust Dylan automatically, inherently. Like there's just something
Hmm.
about the conversations that we had that I know that he's telling me the truth. And he's
Yeah.
just I don't know what it is. He just has there's something about him like he's just so believable. Probably because he is and he is telling the truth.
I struggle with Dylan a lot because I love Dylan. I've played with Dylan before, but I was also very, very close with Michaela and Austin this whole game. And I knew obviously they couldn't both go with Dylan. And my struggle with the two of them is I kept pestering them. It's like, you tell me who you want. Like, if you want each other, fantastic. But if like Michaela wants Dylan out or Michaela wants to go with Dylan and vote Austin out, like it's hard for me to play both sides here, but like, tell me what you want. And so I never really thought Dylan and I could work deep into the game because I just assumed that Dylan would have been gone by that point. But I genuinely really I love how Dylan played the game because like he struggled in the challenges, didn't excel in that side of the game, but his social game was fantastic. Like we jumped on a couple of calls together, like so early on, like I saved him, and he repaid the favor the very next round. So like just honestly, such a genuine guy, and I agree with you. I think he was a very honest player this season.
The season 8 blockbuster.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Against what Cody and Jake, and then again later on against William, or against Austin and William. Yeah, just very much such a solid guy to
And with
survive every
that,
block.
now to the queen herself,
Oh,
Mother Michaela.
oh, wow. Michaela very well may not have been here had Amy Z not asked to get voted out, but Michaela very much deserved to be here.
100%. I told
Like I mean, I connected with Michaela like very early on, right after Austin, and like I locked in because Michaela was the first person to just genuinely be open with me. Because every other person you talk to in these games, they're always just so cagey because they don't know how much they can say, they don't know what they
what
can
do you
share,
feel?
right?
What are you
But
feeling?
like
What do you
Michaela,
think?
right off the bat, I said like I have a feeling I know that your circle is this, this, and this. And she's like, well, I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but I also think your circle is this, this, and this. And I'm like, sure, let's go with that for now. And it's
Was
like
she right? Probably was
she
right
knew
because it
you
was
were
her
in my
take.
circle, but like it just from that moment on, like we were just candid with each other. Every single conversation we had, it was just right to the point of like, hey, like what are we gonna do here? I think she was very frustrated. One of the rounds, I think it was the round that I was gonna vote for. I think it was the William round. Was very frustrated with the tie potential there that Austin and Allison were trying to propose, and I don't know. There's a lot more to that round that I don't know for sure. And I do think Michaela had really good relationships with everyone, including Allison, and I don't know how deep that was, but like props to Michaela because she crushed this game. She got very deep, crushed the challenge. Like she was incredible at that endurance challenge. So yeah.
I kind of see her as like she very much like Dylan, like she was somebody that just inherently trusted.
Mm-hmm.
That it was the same kind of thing. Like we would have a conversation in the group of six, and then she and I would talk about something else on the side. Um, I mean, I think it was the night that Billy went home that she created that chat with the three of us to kind of talk
Mm-hmm.
about like what we wanted to do outside of that group of six. And
Yeah.
and I think the first time we had that group chat when it was about Zenith, um, that was another moment where like
Mm-hmm.
you and I were trying to kind of temper the conversation to be like, we can't just go like balls to the wall here. And she was very much of that same mindset. And that's kind of when
Yeah.
I knew I was okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is somebody I can vibe with. And we always had really good social chats. I kind of see her as like sort of a mix of you and I. And she even kind of said as much where she's
Mm-hmm.
like, she's had really good game conversation with you, really good social conversation with me. So she kind of like got everything she needed from the two of us.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I have no issues with a winner winning again. And I
Mm-hmm.
would have like gladly, if she won it here, I would have been like, yes, amazing.
Oh, she absolutely
Um,
would have deserved it had she gotten to the end. Yeah, incredible. And I think the best part about Michaela is that she was that person that like after we would make a plan in the Alliance chat, I would just come back to her privately and like, hey, are you cool with this plan? Like, how are you feeling about this idea? And it was just like straight to the point of like, I don't like how this person's saying this or this person's idea here. I think they're misled here. Like, it was just very much to the point. So we would just kind of filter down every sort of big scale plan down to what we actually wanted for our own game. And yeah, I mean, I had Michaela in my final six from very early on in the game. So yeah,
should we do each
incredible.
other now? Because there's somebody left. Is that part of this? I think it could be like it's never happened
They've said
before.
that before. They've said that before. I think.
Oh, really?
Um, Yeah, because Jonathan and Austin did that in season two at least. I didn't get to the end of the other videos, but
Do you want to do it?
um,
If Karen lets us.
yeah.
So who
Y'all
goes
can
first?
do it. You were doing so good on time. I don't even know what you're saying, but Jeremy can
Oh,
stop me if that's not allowed, actually.
Um,
I don't have a slide for it, but
that's
y'all
okay.
have a
This is
few
perfect.
minutes.
I'll
oh,
well, I'll
awesome.
start because I
Go
have
for it.
thoughts. When they were showing like the hints of the cast, I was pretty sure
Hmm.
you were you. And when they asked us like preseason, like who do you hope to see, who do you hope not to see? And it's like, you know what? I kind of hope Cameron's there, and I want to use this opportunity to actually play together instead of working against each other, um, because I think we both know what we're capable of trial
Hmm.
wise, but also like we have such different styles that was like,
Hmm.
obviously we did this in season three. Um,
Yeah.
so then when we were in the same circle, I was like, oh, this is great. And even then, like I was really frustrated when it got down to just the two of us because I felt like we were just going to be next and we had no life left. But then the thought occurred to me, I'm like, you know what though? If there's any two people that are going to work together effectively, it's us two.
Yeah.
So it was really,
Yeah.
really satisfying to like get to do all of this with you specifically. And it's not against Jake and it's not against Aline, it's not against
Yep.
Buckley, but I don't think it would have been as effective had it been either of us with any of the other three
Yeah.
in this. So thanks for playing with me.
I told production beforehand because I think after season three, I had like basically followed pretty well in the VL the seasons that were going on, and I felt like very repeatedly you and Mantis would just jump in pretty frequently. And I was like, I watched Mantis play quite a lot, and I was like, I mean, Mantis was in like one of my top contender for the fantasy draft and like won me the draft for the first time. It was like so exciting. And I said to the crowd, I was like, I really hope Scott and Mantis are both there because I was like, we need to have challenge people that are going to come back because if I'm coming back and I'm the only person that like is known as a challenge threat, like my game is going to be done again. It's exactly like it was in season two and three. And Mantis wasn't there, but you were there. And then we got in the same circle. And so like immediately, I'm like, Scott, I'm going to connect with you, lock in with you. I genuinely like for a brief moment contemplated keeping John as like a back burner in case you got taken out for some bizarre reason. But like I was locked in with you from the very first like day we found out our circles. So genuinely love how you differ from me in the way you think about the game. Like, I mean, my favorite part was constantly telling you, I don't think Amy Z and Allison are in the same circle, and you just pushing back, no,
Like,
no, I
no, they're
can believe
totally.
that. I can believe it. I can believe
Because it
so.
just didn't make sense. I was like,
Yeah.
why would these two people be doing this so obviously? But
Hmm.
not to go on a tangent. I do think that is what was I going to say? I don't remember. Something about the season, more
I
the meta
think,
of the season of like so many circle
yeah,
saves. I was like, I can't imagine that with the way things are going, people would do that. But I love to be delusional.
I think I mean, if there's a duo that has ever played this game in their within their circle, like I think we are probably one of the strongest duos to have gone through this game. And I think seeing that we basically had to win or go home for the last 10 rounds of the game, and we did that. Like to me, that's like that speaks volumes to itself. And I love the fact that and this may be like spoken way too soon if like I'm proven to be really wrong tomorrow, but I love the fact that I think genuinely for the jury, like there's gonna be a lot of questions of like how do we differentiate ourselves? And that's gonna be
I've been
our
thinking
task
about that.
tomorrow. It's gonna be our
Yeah,
task tomorrow to do that. But like I think it's going to be a lot of fun because I think there could have been a lot of one-sided duos at the end of the game here, or at least duos where you walked in there and kind of already knew who was gonna be the winner. Um, and I genuinely think and I hope that there's a lot of contention about who actually is the upper hand here, and it may be a close vote. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think we've been talking about ties all season. Why don't we just tie it now?
Does that mean
I think
Jake? Does
that
that
would
mean
be
Jake split the tie? I think Jake split
right.
the
Oh
tie
my
then.
God, he
There's
just puts the
nine
jury.
jurors.
We know.
That's
We're just
fair.
being silly. Like that's why Jake's got to
That's
split his
fair.
vote. Um, but you know what? Like I've been thinking about that too. I'm like, there's so much that we did together, and even like if you look at trial results and like who
Hmm.
saved who and who beat who, it's like pretty
Went
much
back and
equal,
forth. Yeah.
right? And I think like we were very much in lockstep about anything that happened. Like we always had conversations about stuff that was going on.
Hmm.
I think we approached people in different ways that
Yeah.
kind of rather than being like redundant with people.
Hmm.
But I guess like that's also the ending you want to an All-Star season. You want to know that like the two people
Yeah.
that are there like really did the thing, and I feel like we did, and I feel like whichever one of us gets it is going to be like we're going to be good representatives
Yeah.
for what could have been a weird season. Luckily, has
Yeah.
was a weird season, but like still hopefully a good one.
And I think part of the fact that there's so much similarity is because we were forced from a very early point in the game after we lost three people in a row to play together. And in this game where you basically like if one of us is safe, the other one's safe kind of vibe, like that's the way the game works. And so like other than just protecting ourselves from potential ties or weird backdoor plans, like that was our entire game was just making sure that we are on the same page every single round because we had to be. There wasn't an opportunity to go to the end with three people and then make your decision the last round. Like we were already locked in.
Right.
There was nobody else I could have sat next to for over half the game. So yeah,
We,
and I think that's a really fun way of playing the game.
weirdly a blessing too, because as much
Hmm.
as I wanted this to be a little more dynamic in terms of like how the other circles played versus just staying in their
Hmm.
silos, um, it kind of removed the need to think about those things. It was like, okay, we know the
Yeah.
two, now we just go. And we
Yeah.
did, and here we are. Look at us
And
now.
I mean, besides the fact that I think people saw us as this powerhouse duo that needed to go as soon as possible, I think the fact that we were down to two, it almost kind of made us seem weaker. Like it made us seem like, oh, they could take us out whenever they want to. So let's
Big
target the
mistake.
people that have four people in their circle. And I think what you're saying. I think they made a mistake by letting us stay longer because, like, now granted, there really, other than a tie, there wasn't an opportunity because of how fantastic we are to take us out. But
Right? We're just too good. No.
but
It's
they should
this
have.
is the pendulum I keep talking about. We're like
Yeah.
in the way that we've got these representatives of like Vicky being a victim and Buckley being a victim. I think because people stayed circle strong and because they took out a circle, potentially, I mean, it might not have been the intention to take us out that way. Once it got down to two, now we become the leverage to break up the other groups. And that line of thinking where people say, "Oh, they'll be easy targets later." Anytime anyone says that, those people go far. So they kind of
Hmm.
did us a favor in a weird way. Like as much as I
Yeah.
wish that like Buckley and Aaliyah and Jake had stayed longer,
Hmm.
they put us in a position to just do it,
Yeah.
to do the thing. And it's been
Yep.
so fun. And you know what else is great? I'll say one last thing because I'm sure they're sick of us talking. Um, not having to worry about voting each other out because we have to work together works really well for someone like me because like I want to be able to think about things and I want to be able to talk about
Yeah.
strategy and I want to be able to talk about plans and not have to think like, is this person
Yeah.
gonna screw me over? So it was just so refreshing to have
Yeah.
like another person that I felt like could see things in the same way and talk about things and it was all out in the open, nothing
Hmm.
suspicious. Not I'm not going to get idled out later, you know?
Yeah. But it was a weird system because I mean, the fact that we shared a Google Sheets to prepare for the final, like that's not normal in most games where you know that you might be up against somebody. Like, but we had to work together to get to the end in order to go up against each other. So such a fantastic way this format works, but it kind of
Love
forced
it.
that sort of work together until the very last minute and then boom. So I
Right.
love it. I love it.
Well, we're gonna have fun. I hope they're nice to us tomorrow. And I hope,
I don't know what it's gonna look like.
I don't know either. I hope I kind of like this is sick and twisted. I kind of want it to be a 5-4, whichever direction it goes, because that's like the closest you can get to a tie. And I know some people would
Yeah.
probably like don't want, some people would be like, oh, I was so close, I was so close. But I'm like, you know what? I would rather be that close because I know
Hmm.
that like at least we were as equal as we thought, you know? But we'll see what
I
they
do think no matter how the vote goes though, like it's if there's groupthink that's at play, like the vote is probably closer than the vote may reveal though. So
Mhm.
even if it is 8-1, 7-2, I think it's
Right.
probably closer than people think. But
And in the end, at the end of the day, like we know what we did. We know what we did
exactly.
here, and only
Yeah.
one person can win, but we still know like. So
Yeah.
thanks for making my last game a good one.
I love the collective. Glad to be back for a third time and glad that we were able to do this time.
Right. And with that, Jeremy, I
Thank
think we've
you
we've earned the
both.
right
Thank you
pass.
both for doing the rites of passage. We will see you both tomorrow for the finale, and I wish you both the best of luck.
Is that at
Thank
nine,
you.
by the way?